Hi, Abdul. Okay. Let me share my screen. Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining our session for CRM basics and Salesforce Overview. Um, to quickly get started, I quickly want to introduce myself. I'm Laxman. I have 18 years of experience in the IT industry and more than a decade of experience, especially in CRM space. So I have worked with a lot of Fortune 500 companies in implementing their CRMs. And in today's session, I'm going to mainly focus on trying to give basics about CRM and at the same time try to give you a lot of insights from my real-time projects. Hopefully that will help you understand CRM better. Let's quickly get started. So the first step would be like to understand what is CRM. CRM will help you manage all your customer relationship data and the various interactions that happens with customers. CRM is mainly targeted towards sales and service areas of any company. For example, if you were to purchase a insurance, so whenever you try to contact the insurance company, they will try to um, save all your data along with the interactions that you had with them. So nowadays the CRMs are so powerful. They even like store your voice calls against your record, and any other information, any other interactions that happen with you, the salesperson will try to document against you. So in the future, if you again try to reach them, they have a whole lot of history about you. They exactly know what kind of interactions happened with you in the past, so that they can leverage that information to effectively engage with you and provide the information you need. Why CRM matters? Again, as I said, like centralized customer data. This was one of the example where you get to see the whole customer data in one place without having to going through hoops, and improve the sales and marketing efficiency. So you, as a big company, I mean, as a small company, you can always do that using Excel or some other way to track the level of sales and marketings. But if you are a big company, everything needs to be automated, and the volume of data, you may not be engaged with the customers through manual process. Enhances customer service. Again, this is the classic example I just said. Whenever you try to reach any company, if they have a effective CRM, they already know the kind of interactions you had with them, and then they can also effectively engage with you based on that context. Drives better decision making. Again, this will help in better decision making in sales and marketing processes. So I think as we move along, I will show you some real-time insights on how a CRM works. But let's skip through some of these high-level things. So the key features of CRM system. Again, most of these concepts are common across all the CRMs, and all the major companies have a CRM system. There are like no exceptions. Obviously, any company that needs a sales and service process needs a CRM. The first step would be like contact and account management. So this is about capturing the customer information, which can be two types. Like there are B2B and B2C. B2B is basically your business is trying to sell to another business. So basically, another business is your target audience, and B2C is basically you're directly selling to the consumers. For example, like if you're a company that is selling TVs, you might have B2B. Like for example, Best Buy can be your target audience. Basically, Best Buy is also a business, so they are trying to purchase from you and then trying to sell to consumers. So ultimately, Best Buy is B2B for our company. And then you might also be selling these TVs directly on your website. So where customers can directly purchase the TVs from their website. So in this case, that is B2C. Consumers are directly interacting with the business. So you can capture the information accordingly. If it is a company, typically you will have something called account. Account is basically your company name and all the phone number, email, everything. And the contacts would be the people who are working under that company. So because obviously once to make a deal, you just don't call the front desk, right? Obviously you need to interact with people who are decision makers. So all those decision maker information will be saved under contacts. So that is the first step, trying to capture account and contact information. And the next step would be sales pipeline management. So once you have the target customer, then how do you manage the sales process? And how do you do the marketing? I hope you already know the difference between marketing and sales. If not, I could give you quick information on the difference between these two. Marketing is all about getting people interested in your product or service. It basically creates awareness, builds a brand image, and it will help you generate the leads. Think of marketing as attracting people to your store. For example, like Best Buy is, let's say Best Buy is our company. Then how do you market it? There are multiple ways. For example, you can advertise in your TV. You can run some campaigns at a trade conference. So there are multiple ways to run a marketing campaign. But that will only help you generate the leads. Basically, that will help you get contact information of various people who are interested in your product. And sales is all about converting that interest into a purchase. Typically, it involves talking to potential customers, addressing their needs, and finally closing the deal. Think of sales as convincing people to buy once they are in the store. So in this case, like Best Buy, you're advertising, so that will help people come to the store. But again, once they are in the store, again, salespeople might need to convince them to purchase from them on how it will be advantageous, whether it could be best pricing or best service. So they have to help the customer in a way that customer is attracted to buy the product from them. Customer service and support, obviously, depending on the area you are, there's a lot of customer service and support. For example, if you are in the insurance business, the customer service might need to take a lot of calls, pre-sales, answering various questions, generating quotes, and finally, if the customer really likes the quote, they might end up purchasing the insurance policy. And that's where your customer service comes into picture. And support is typically can be after you purchase. If they need any changes in the insurance policy, in this case, they can contact the customer service and get some support from them. Analytics and dashboard, again, this is mainly relevant for all the top level CEOs or execs who will monitor the overall company progress and how they are doing in various departments. And even like low level supervisors can monitor how their salespeople, individual salesperson is performing. And these analytics and dashboards will help them improve, provide feedback, and coach the team members to improve their performance. Again, mobile access is definitely nowadays most of us are on mobile, and often even the businesses need to be on mobile. For example, you would have often seen, for example, if you were to go to a T-Mobile store or AT&T store, most of them carry laptop. Most of them carry iPads, where they help you like trying to create a case for any issue you have or help you make a purchase. So the CRM system not only need to support the desktops, but the same software has to also be able to adapt to various mobile devices. Security and compliance, again, if you're in a big company, you have a lot of rules to follow. And for example, like security can be when the data is in transit. For example, the customer is trying to input the information into one of the forms on your website, and that data will ultimately be transferred to your database. So on the way, nowadays anyone can hack depending on the kind of security you provide. So you need to work with a CRM that supports the security needs you have. For example, if you were to capture any personally identifiable information, you need to be like more cautious about the security of the data transfer. And similarly, depending on the industry, you have compliance standards. For example, if you are operating in Europe, they have very tight control on where the data resides. So, for example, most of these global companies have data centers across the globe. Okay. Often companies have data centers duplicated just in case one of the data center fails. They want to be making sure that the data is not lost and it can be retrieved from another data center. One of the common reasons could be like, for example, if you have a natural calamity near the data center you have, and your data center is no more operational, you want to diversify that another data center in a different location where you may not have that natural calamity. So in this case, Europe might have a standard saying you cannot export the data outside of Europe unless you follow a certain set of regulations. So if you were to operate in Europe, you have a lot of compliance rules to follow on where your databases reside and where is your data center. So again, you have to choose the CRM system depending on the industry you're operating. For example, if you are in financial industry like banking and insurance, you have a lot more stringent requirements to follow in terms of compliance. And if you're a small company, again, you still have to follow, but you may not have that stringent regulations. So the CRM systems will help you follow these rules. There are most of the features inbuilt into them to be able to support various compliance standards. Workflow and task automation. Again, there are various day-to-day tasks performed by sales and service people. So they need to be able to achieve that with minimal click and effort, and that's the whole point of workflow and task automation. So CRMs provide a lot of those features to be able to perform your job easily and effectively. That's a lot of theory. Any questions so far? Okay. So moving on, top CRM systems in the market. There are a lot of CRM companies. Most of them are small, and Salesforce is the leading CRM system. So right now, Salesforce has the most number of customers, and even in terms of revenue, Salesforce is number one in CRM today. One of the reasons for that is it is most customizable, and it has wide variety of features, and it support wide range of industries. And AI power. I mean, nowadays all companies have features related to AI. We'll talk more about it in a bit. And Microsoft Dynamics could be another CRM, but this is more targeted towards companies who are already using a lot of Microsoft products already. Then it might make sense to easily integrate Microsoft Dynamics with them. But again, that is not the only factor. Most of the CRMs have similar features, and as I said, like depending on various needs you have, you might have to choose the required CRM. And if you're a small company, that like small to mid-sized, you can probably opt for HubSpot or Zoho. These are cost-effective options, but again, they have comparatively lesser number of features compared to Salesforce, but they might be sufficient for small to mid-sized companies. Oracle, I think Oracle had a product called Siebel CRM. They were like number one at some point. But I think the major drawback at that point was they were in-house, basically, which means you need to install. It's not a cloud software where you have to install everything in the computer locally and push the upgrades locally. So it was lacking the cloud features originally. After that, they eventually moved to cloud, but could not catch up with Salesforce. At Salesforce, the main core feature was it always was in the cloud. I mean, when they started, they were on premise, which is like locally installed, but pretty soon they realized that cloud is the way to go, and they started moving to cloud, and that's one of the key features, I would say, that made Salesforce shine compared to other CRMs. SAP CRM again, when some company has a ERP, then it might make sense to leverage SAP CRM. But yeah, again, mostly again, many people stick to like the top four, I would say, depending on your needs. Again, how to choose the right CRM depending on your needs. So like first, you have to define your business goals, consider scalability and customization needs. Scalability is very good in terms of like cloud software. If the number of users increase, then you don't have to worry about systems slowing down or increasing any hardware. Everything is taken care by the cloud softwares. So they know how to scale the systems without the companies getting involved. But compared to like if you were to do a in-house or on-premise software where you install locally on your computer, so it may not be easy to scale those softwares. Okay. Rise of low-code platforms. So, what is low-code? Typically, this is a development approach where instead of writing code, you basically leverage drag and drop tools like the visual tools where you can drag and drop the components without really writing the code and then still achieve the functionality. I'll probably give you a demo in a bit. And benefits of low code. In the past, like let's say I would say more than 10 years ago, we had something called waterfall model where the software development used to be slow, where we don't release the features until like every 6 months or 1 year. So, but now the companies are releasing because of the competition and the environment, they are releasing the features like more frequently. It could be like every month or every quarter, or even more dynamically. So to be able to catch up to the speed of that, low code platforms have evolved a lot, and they became very popular. And Salesforce is also one of the low code platform where you will be able to achieve a lot of automation without writing code. And I know like right now we have OpenAI or any of the AI software that will help you like write the code just by like giving a command, hey, can you write the code to achieve this task? But obviously this was not the case 2 years back. So obviously we needed some alternate solution where it was quick to develop without writing a lot of code. Any questions so far? Let me see if someone has any question here. Okay, thanks. Okay, now moving specifically on to the Salesforce. Some of these features I'm about to talk, even though I'm talking in terms of Salesforce, most of these are similar across other CRM platforms too. Um, so within Salesforce, we have different products, or we call it cloud. For example, like Sales Cloud is supports the full sales cycle, including lead and opportunity management and forecasting the pipeline, and it will help you improve your win rate. Okay, so I want to give you a quick sneak peek into how it looks. So typically, this is how a Salesforce looks, and most of the CRMs are also similar. And in most of the sales cycle, it all starts with campaigns. So campaign again is all about capturing a potential lead. Okay. For example, if you are in the electrical business and you want to attract some electrical engineers, you might put up um, table in a trade show related to that, and you will try to capture the electrical engineering information by giving away some freebies or something. They always come to your booth and they might sign up for giving some information, and then they get some freebie, or so that way you capture the leads. Again, similar, this is not specific to engineers, but yeah, it can be any product. For example, if you are in a real estate business, there are a lot of real estate expos that happen. Then the corresponding company can come there, and then they will be able to meet with potential customers, right? There are people who are interested in real estate. They go to those expos, and then they might sign up, providing their contact information, like saying, hey, this is my email and this is my phone number. And that way companies can capture the leads. So leads is basically trying to get the information of persons who are potentially interested in your product, but we do not know yet whether they are interested to engage in the purchasing conversation yet. So this is like a preliminary interest, which may or may not convert into a sale. Okay, so typically, once you create a campaign, um, you also want to capture the budgeted cost. Like, for example, to set up that booth, it might cost you some amount. Okay, of course, this is a little high for a booth, but depending on the situation, you might spend a lot of money, because it's not necessarily setting up a booth. You might have to include the expenditure, including like flying to a particular area, and provide accommodation to all the people who are supporting that booth. So there's a lot of cost involved. So before setting up such booths, marketing department also has an expected revenue. So based on this booth, they might estimate a certain amount of revenue to be generated from the leads. Again, this is an estimation before they start this booth. Depending on that, their budgeted cost will be allocated and approved. So once you create a campaign, and you might capture all the contact information of various people, and that's what is called as leads. So lead can be a person, and we'll capture their information. And again, if it is a B2B, they might be representing a company, and if they're B2C, they're standalone and there may not be any company information. So ultimately, we will get all those leads. Leads are basically people who are potentially interested now, but we do not know yet whether they will end up purchasing our product. So once you have the lead, and once the, let's say, trade expo is done, and let's say after all these marketing people will share this information with the sales team. So the marketing's job is done. So the marketing team's job is to potentially get these leads. Their job is not to sell the product. So once we have the leads, then that's when the sales team is expected to come into picture, and their job is to call these people or email these people. Everyone has a different strategy, and depending on the line of business, um, you can do it different ways. And ultimately, once they contact this person and they say that they are interested to pursue the purchase, then that's when we will convert this into something called opportunity. So one of the classical use case can be, if you are, let's say, an electricity generation business. Okay, and as a household, like, consumers typically reach out to companies to uh, take a particular electricity company. But as a company, many times the salespeople reach out to other big companies asking if they are interested in to purchase electricity from them. In that case, the other company might be saying, hey, give me the quote on the pricing and offerings you have, and depending on that I may be interested. So that's when as soon as they say they are interested to at least move to the next stage, which is at least trying to find out what would the price be, then that's when you create something called opportunity. So lead is potential lead, but opportunity is like the next stage where there is a possibility that we'll end up purchasing the product. Okay, so in this case, let's go to the opportunity. So again, opportunity has a different stages, and this is usually not same for every company. Depending on the sales process, you have various steps. So by default, it is showing like prospecting. Qualification is basically if we think that the company is really fitting our product, and value proposition is basically showing the value, like it could be lesser price or more value. And then you propose, provide the quote, and then you negotiate with them. um, Sometimes you might add additional discounts if the consumer is pushing for a discount, and ultimately you might end up purchasing it, and that's when you call it as closed one, which basically we ended up selling this product successfully. Or closed lost can be like for various reasons customer did not opt purchase. Okay, any questions so far? Again, these concepts are pretty same across the CRMs. All the companies follow this process. And like for example, opportunity, sometimes people can directly create opportunities without creating leads. For example, recently when I went to purchase a home, I mean not purchase a home, but inquire about purchasing a home, I went to a particular builder, and they were using Salesforce. They captured my information in the opportunity, considering I was showing interest in purchase. And again, I did not end up purchasing it. So in that case, it was closed last. If I would have purchased the home from them, then I would have been closed one. Okay, that's at high level about Sales Cloud. So this is the typical sales process, and you might also like leverage analytics and dashboards. Again, I may have some out of the box. Okay, I don't have a dashboard, sorry. But I think we can move on to the Service Cloud. Again, once the purchase is done, Service Cloud basically helps you providing support to all your customers. So it depends on the line of business. Again, how to configure the service. So one of the key aspect of Service Cloud is case management. So often, whenever you have a problem, you typically call the company, and they typically create a case to monitor the progress. A classic example could be you are all of us are using internet, and let's say if your internet is down, um, then you might call the corresponding company, let's say Xfinity, call them and say, hey, my internet is down. And if there's a known outage, obviously he may not create a case, but if there is a specific problem to your house, he will probably create a case and assign it to some technician, and then get the technician will come to your home and fix the issue. uh, Again, it looks pretty straightforward, but the more you go in depth, there's a lot of functionality. Let's quickly switch to service here. So look at this case. So basically, someone is looking for electrical wiring installation. So they called the customer service. As soon as they call the customer service, they just don't help the customer. All the big companies track that information. So for that, the first step would be to create a case to be able to track the contact person who is calling, and what is their phone number, and when did this happen, and you capture a lot of details about the problem. So once they tell you about the problem, there will be some automated features. It could be like, for example, knowledge article. For example, for this particular case, it is like searching their internal database on how to resolve this problem, without having to. If the customer service doesn't know how to resolve it, then yeah, they might look at the knowledge articles within their company to understand the steps. So, I mean, if you do not, because obviously there are a lot of service reps who may be new to the company and they may not know all the rules. So they cannot keep going to their supervisor for every time they have a question. So that's where the systems or the CRM system is built to help them get all the information they need to help the customer without really going to the supervisor or their colleague every time. Again, once they have the case, depending on the type of problem, they might be able to help you over the phone, and sometimes they might have to do additional transferring this case to another department or sending the technician to your home. Okay. So again, there are a lot of other features. For example, omni-channel support. So when you have a, let's say, customer service center, right? So there are, let's say, 100 agents that are taking the phone calls every day. So how do you route the phone calls, right? So we need a software that evenly balances out the phone call assignment. So out of 100 people, let's say all times you might have like only like 75 calls happening, and the rest of the 25 people might be idle waiting for taking a call. So it doesn't mean like the system has to be so optimized, and it has to effectively route the calls by balancing the load. I mean, the same person should not get all the calls, rather everyone should equally be distributed the work, so that way no one is stressed out. So again, that is how it is done. So we have a lot of features within Salesforce where you can evenly distribute the phone calls. And another example could be the mobile workers. In the case of internet outage, every area has a lot of technicians, right? Then the system has to effectively assign the work such a way that we get the maximum work out of them, and also there should not be any overlaps when the work is assigned. Like you cannot provide the same timeline to different customers, like saying that the same technician is expected to show up at two different places. Then that will be a bad customer service. So, and also the technician, like for example, if you are living in a, let's say, big city called San Francisco, so it's so big, like just to move from one corner of the San Francisco to another, it takes several hours. So you cannot assign the work like for the technician to take up a case at one corner of the city, and the next case or next problem, he cannot go like very far to solve the problem. So this system has to effectively assign the work in a way that he gets all the work in a close by area. That way he doesn't spend a lot of time traveling, rather he gets work which is close to his first assignment. That way he will go to the next assignment without much hassle and complete the work. Again, it also has to calculate all that, the amount of time it takes to travel and amount of time to fix the issue. Depending on that, the workload has to be balanced. So if you're a small company, you can do all of this manually. Like the supervisor can say, hey, you go this route and you go that route. But in big companies, the amount of work is pretty high. So you cannot assign that manually. Everything has to be automated. So the software can do all of this with supervisor only like getting involved when there are exceptions. Like there could be some exceptions where, let's say, the service person suddenly not feeling well, so he cannot complete the work assigned to him that day. So the supervisor has to probably manually intervene to reassign the work to someone or reschedule it for later. But otherwise, system has to take care of everything. Any questions so far? Hopefully, it is making sense. But feel free to let me know if any questions. Okay, thanks, Sitam. Okay, marketing cloud. Again, for marketing department, uh, one of the easiest things I showed you was like creating campaigns and capturing the leads. That was again more of a manual process, and we have like a lot of automated features in marketing cloud that will help you engage with the customer individually. For example, if you are interested, let's say, um, in Nike shoes, and you were like visiting their website, and obviously there might be a pop-up saying, hey, if you sign up for our newsletter, you get 20% off or something like that. So immediately you might be like signing up just to grab that offer, like provide your email information. Okay, as soon as you do that, marketing department might get that information, and there are a lot of features. For example, like one of the feature we call it as journey builder. Let's see if I captured that. Yeah, there are a lot of features like journey builder. So journey builder like basically help you track the progress. So in this case, what it does is, as soon as the consumer signed up with that email, so marketing cloud will continue to track that information. What it does is it will wait for, let's say, it depends on the business how do you set up the logic, but let's say the marketing team wants to wait for 10 more days and see if that customer ends up purchasing the product. Okay, then if the customer purchases the product using the same email, then marketing team will assume that the purchase already happened, no more follow-ups are needed. Let's assume like after 10 days customer did not end up purchasing, so there will be like the automation will check after 10 days, it will check whether there is a order happened, and if there is no order, marketing team might send an automated email saying these are the products that you might be interested, and we are also giving you special offer just for this weekend. We will give you 30% off if you are purchasing by end of this weekend. So again, it will also like the software also has the capability to know if the consumer has really opened that email or not. So if the consumer has really opened that email and still did not end up purchasing, they might have a additional logic saying like after 30 days send one more email with additional content. But if the consumer has not opened the prior email, like don't do anything yet, because they haven't even like seen the prior email, there's no point in sending one more email. So depending on the marketing strategy, they might build this process so where each individual will be tracked and their journey will be designed as per the interaction with their websites and the sales process. So that is marketing cloud. Again, there are a lot of features. For example, like social studio. Social studio is all about you continuously hear the feedback on social media. For example, let's say Twitter, and you will be able to track all the tweets in your Salesforce, and it will also highlight when there is a problem from a problem reported by any customer. Then basically you do not have to like really go through the whole tweets tagging that company, and you might be able to directly focus on the problematic tweet where the customer is complaining about something. So there are a lot of automated features to directly engage with that without having to like manually oversee that whole platform. Okay, and then we have like similarly like email studio, if you are like to send a mass emails, like for example, like you want to send saying a new product has been introduced in your company, and let's say you have like 10,000 emails. If you send all those 10,000 emails in one go, there is a high probability that your Gmail or any other server will flag it as spam. So there are a lot of strategies followed by these CRMs, and especially in case Salesforce, they throttle in such a way that the emails are sent from trusted IPs, so that none of the servers will put all of these emails in the spam. So there is a lot of strategy. Like it's not just like sending 10,000 emails. There is a lot of science on when to send, how to send, from which server to send, what is the maximum amount you can send if you're targeting a particular Gmail. Like everyone might have a different threshold. Gmail might tag it as a spam if you send more than 1,000 emails, versus Outlook might have a different threshold to consider it as a spam. So you have to consider all of that. Again, all of these features will be built into CRMs. Again, as a company, you want the software to take care of all of this, so that marketing team can focus on the marketing strategy rather than worrying about all of these technical issues. Okay, that's about marketing cloud. I think we have 10 more minutes. I'll try to wind it up fast. Then experience cloud is all about experience cloud has like we can leverage experience cloud in multiple ways. For example, a self service website can be created. Like for example, instead of you can typically, most of the companies provide FAQ section or something where if there is a problem you can check yourself. But if you have a company where, for example, a product needs to be installed, and how it needs to be installed, what are the various issues, and you want to provide all of that information where a customer can go to this website directly without having to like really call you. That's where like self-service portals are helpful. Again, this is not just like any other website. The goal of these websites like Experience Cloud is building a separate website from Salesforce, which can access the information from Salesforce. That's the whole point of like building a Experience Cloud website, where it will difference some of the information from Salesforce and show it in the Experience Cloud. Another use case is to like onboard a customer onto your business. For example, like I implemented Experience Cloud, where we built a separate website and provide username and password to all the people who needs to be onboarded. For example, I was working for an insurance company, health insurance company, and we needed to onboard the doctors who support this insurance. Like basically, those doctors will become in network for this particular insurance company. So it's a one-time process. So during this onboarding, we might ask a lot of information from the doctor, like asking him some proofs where he has to upload some attachments. All of that to automate that. We built a separate website, like Experience Cloud website, where he will have a limited view of Salesforce, where we will only upload the information needed, and he will also track the status of his onboarding, some basic things. But all of this data will be directly going to Salesforce um, without much heavy lift. So that is another use case where you will use Experience Cloud. And there are a lot of clouds, for example, like financial service cloud. While the sales and service clouds I just explained covers the basic sales process, so some of the industries might need special functionality. For example, if you are in a financial industry, while this sales process is great, you need additional features to capture insurance information. So you need some automation around how to capture insurance information, and how do we uh, integrate with various insurance industry websites. For example, like whenever a policy is issued, there are various ways to get that information from state or federal website. There are a lot of integration that happens for financial industry. So all that is supported. So this provides an additional layer on top of regular sales and service process. So depending on the industry, you might have a separate cloud which supports additional functionality. And last feature I'd like talk about is data cloud. So there are, like, again, this is a particular to Salesforce, but again there are a lot of products similar to this. So data cloud is all about unifying your profile so that you can engage with them effectively. For example, oftentimes when you are trying to make a purchase online, you might use different emails. So for example, like first, you sign up with an email, and make a purchase, and later you may not remember that you made a purchase with that email, and second time you again sign up. Your first name, last name, and address and phone number might be same, just the email ID could be different. So you are now trying to make a purchase with Nike with a different email this time. So they want, like, as a company, when you're purchasing, let's say the first time you return the product, and the second time also you return the product. If you're using two different emails, the company wouldn't know like how many times you've done. You're using different emails. So to be able to get a holistic view about the customer, uh, we can leverage features like data cloud, where we will push all the data into data cloud, and we can define the rules how to identify a unique customer. Like for example, we match the customer based on the address, first name and last name. As long as they're matching and there are multiple email addresses under which we have made purchases, so we can unify their data and ultimately see a single view. Then we will get to know, hey, John has made like two purchases using two different emails, and considering his history, we might now want to push some marketing emails saying he might be next going to the camping. So any camping related products can probably send an email so that he will know offerings from our company. So yeah, there are ways, like there are a lot of signs for marketing and sales depending on how you use the data. Um, okay, and that concludes the session. Hopefully, I think I see one question from, I see a lot of AI CRM startups. How is their space in the market? So again, as I said, obviously all the CRMs are, everybody's trying to adapt to AI. Even like Salesforce has AI features. I would say one of the main reasons, like, to choose between different CRMs is the kind of features you need as a company and the cost involved. If you like, if someone can afford, like Salesforce is very costly. It's enterprise software. Only the big companies typically can afford this. And if you're a small company and if you're looking for a particular feature, you might go with the smaller CRM. Again, all of these companies are having AI features. And honestly, I would say at this moment, the AI features are good, but not completely reliable without human intervention. Like, we cannot just like let the AI reply to customers completely without human involved. So, but definitely there are a lot of features. For example, I was showing you like the case management. So AI can understand the case description and probably suggest you like the solution, right? But again, that solution has to be suggested to the customer rep who is helping the customer rather than the customer himself, because we might need one more review of the information provided by AI before saying that this is a perfect solution for this problem. Did that help? And Andy? Okay, that concludes the session. Any other questions from anyone? Okay, if not, great. I really appreciate all of you joining the session. Thank you very much. Yeah, Devans has a question: how has AI impacted the manual impact of CRM software? So honestly, at this point, uh, the human is not really replaced. Definitely, it is helping all the sales people and service people whoever is using the software, but it will help them like to get the information faster or do a particular task faster. But it hasn't like replaced anything. Even like for example, if you were to like write a code, so at this point, like human is like trying to give the instruction saying how to write this code for this problem. But again, someone has to manually review and take the parts of the code which are essential. At this point, we haven't come to a stage where the business people can give instructions and directly use that response to be able to uh, put in the production system. Okay, that concludes the session. Thank you very much and have a great day. Okay. Okay. Thank you all. Bye bye.